I've seen thousands of men lead their relationship to reconciliation, and in every single one of those cases, their reconciliation stages always looks the same. So in this video, I want to answer the question, what does the journey of reconciliation look like? How long does it actually take to reconcile? And what skills do you need at every single stage of that reconciliation process to reconcile for real? And if you're new to this channel, my name is Geoffrey and I help men in long-term relationships or in marriages with the right skills, internal skills and external skills as well, to be able to reconcile despite being in very dire situations. So if you want more content on this topic, be sure to subscribe to this channel and also click the bell button as well to be notified when I post new videos every single week. The first stage of the reconciliation process usually begins with what I call the hopeless resistance from the catch-22. And this is a stage when your partner will make everything very hopeless for you. And she will resist you a whole lot, indicating that there is no hope for reconciliation. No matter what you try, she will never change her mind, and other forms of basically saying the same things. And the reason why this stage occurs is first it starts with the cycle of hope and disappointments your partner has. So it starts off with your partner being unhappy about something. And in the beginning, she tries to express what she feels unhappy about to you. But whenever she expresses her unhappiness to you, she ends up regretting it for some reason. Usually, again, is due to you doing something that actually destroys the safety for her to continue expressing those unhappiness to you. So for example, maybe is that whenever she expresses whatever it is to you, you make some promises that you cannot actually deliver on. And so again, this puts her in the zigzag pattern of hope and then disappointment. Or maybe you start to justify yourself and basically indicate that whatever she's feeling and whatever she's thinking, whatever she feels unhappy about, there's no merit to it, that she was feeling those unhappy things because of some misunderstanding, and you're trying to belittle the problem that she's facing here. Or maybe is that you fail to listen emotionally and really understand emotionally the deeper core of what she's trying to say to you. There are really millions of other ways that you can subtly destroy that safety, as we talked about in many of our videos. So this creates a zigzag pattern of her feeling disappointed at first, expressing those unhappiness and you making some promises, but then when you cannot meet those promises, she feels disappointed. And she feels unhappy about that now, so she expresses that, and again you repeat the same pattern, and this usually goes on for many years if you really think about your relationship going back. And this brings us to the second stage of this disappointment cycle, which is that catch-22 being formed. So this is the stage when your partner realizes that when she shares about how unhappy she feels, she loses, either because again she will get disappointed or you'll make some false promises, etc. And obviously if she doesn't share, then she will also lose because nothing will get resolved. And if this catch-22 goes on for long enough, this brings up a third option, which is then to leave. And this brings us to the third stage, which is that self-preservation stage. When she's finally saying to herself, I'm done being in this catch-22. Basically she's saying, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 50 times over the last many years, really shame on me. And so now she tells herself, I don't care what the consequences are. I don't care how guilty I feel. I don't care if leaving is the wrong thing or right thing to do. I need to leave as a matter of principle because I'm done being in this catch-22. And when she finally decides to leave or says she wants space, that is her going to stage 4, which is a hopeless resistance stage. When she is going to, as a matter of principle, continue to remind herself and remind you that she has made a decision, her decision is solid, that there's nothing you can do to change her mind, that she is dead set on leaving no matter what. And she does this again as a matter of principle because she cannot be fooled once again. So your partner is going to stay in this hopeless resistance stage for up to a month or two. For most of my clients, it's about a month or two, depending on how closely my clients follow the program to create safety, but also depending on how much damage has been caused in a relationship and how much that hope and disappointment cycle has been going on in that relationship. And at this point, the challenge you can expect is that she will, at every turn, at everywhere you look, she's going to remind you that there is nothing you can do to change her mind, that she feels hopeless, there's zero hope of reconciliation. And that resistance from her is going to create a lot of doubt in you, in a sense of, should I even be trying? Is there even hope? Should I keep trying? And a temptation to play the woe is me card, to feel all demotivated, to just basically back down and get all depressed is very high at the stage. And the temptation to also blame this on your partner, to act out of panic and actually villainize your partner for wanting to leave in the first place is also going to be very high at this stage. Which is why at the start of our program, we know that our clients will face this. The first thing we teach them is what we call the non-victim mindset, which is when we finally accept the full reality of our situation, when we fully accept the 100% contribution to the 50% that we created to the demise of that relationship. And this is the stage when people need to stop blaming their partner, getting all demotivated and stressed and panicked whenever they're told that there is really no hope. And just like in this 12-step program, this non-victim mindset is designed to help you accept the full reality of your situation right now. The full reality that there is a problem, and the problem also comes from your own contribution as well. And without that first step of acceptance and admission of your own problems, nothing else can happen. And this is why we also teach what is called untethering, which is shifting your brain's addiction and your primary motivation from doing to have, and doing because you are. Because again, when your partner makes it hopeless for you, she's basically taking this having away from you. And so if your motivation is to do because you want to have, you will crumble and you will give up at actually the most opportune moment that you should not give up at. So the only way you can still keep going despite all the resistance that your partner is giving is to do because you are, to shift and to untether in that way. Because if you give up now, it will just show your partner that she was right to leave in the first place. And I made a video on this. It's a very important video, and I'm going to leave the link above my head here, also down below this video as well, if you want to learn more about that phenomenon. And a third resource has been really helpful for my clients is to surround themselves with a community, with people that are actually going through the same exact scenarios, the same exact challenges, and they can see how thousands of other people have gone through the exact same challenge and actually broken through it. That this is just a normal stage of the reconciliation process, that your situation isn't really that unique. And once they see that it's possible for people to break through this stage, that's when people really begin to raise their standards. They start to actually double down on the process, and they start to decide to succeed despite her making it hopeless and not fail because she's making it hopeless. Now, when you can thrive through the first stage here, you go to the second stage, which is when your partner will start to doubt her decision to leave. So she's going to think in her head, okay, I've made it really hopeless for this person, but this person is still really putting his 100% to wanting to better himself, to wanting to do the right things, and he's still very motivated to do so. And that's going to make her think, maybe, just maybe this time is different. But the main key, guys, is that whatever you do in stage one, whatever changes you display in stage one needs to be 10x of who you were before. If you're just slightly better, that's not going to cut it. She needs to see that your changes are, wow, this is something very different than what I've seen. And when you can give her that impression that is very different, that's how you plant the seed of doubt in her mind. And again, in this stage, my typical client takes about 1 to 2 months in this stage. And again, it depends on how closely they're following the program to the T or how much damage they've caused in that relationship in the first place. And in this stage, you're going to face the exact same types of resistances you're going to face in stage one, but in a much more intensified version of it. So you are going to get more stonewalling, for example. You are going to get more cold shoulder. You are going to get more hot and cold behavior, etc. And this happens again because if you really put yourself in your partner's shoes here, and you are struggling to really trust whether someone's changes is real or not, you're going to actually increase your resistance in the short term to really see, are their changes really real or not? Or are they just changes that you're trying to make because things are easy right now because I'm making it easy for you? And again, at this stage, the temptation to lose your motivation at this wrong time and to blame your partner, to play victim, for example, is going to be extremely high at this point. This is the highest stage where those temptation to give up and to blame partner will be the highest. And the skills you need here are the same as in stage one, but you need to master untethering. You need to master the non-victim mindset to a higher degree. Because again, you need that to fight the intense resistance you're going to get at this point. And this is the moment when we say you cannot really fake your changes. This is the moment when you cannot fake your changes anymore. Now, once you bust through stages 1 and 2, you go to the third stage, which is what we call the paradox of change stage. And this is actually when her resistance will evolve into something different. And according to my clients, this is when it actually will intensify even more, but in a very different sense than what you got in stages 1 and 2. And this is the moment when you will get the most tough truths, the most of the different kinds of resistance here. And the tough truth and resistance will come because you created safety. And so to imagine this, I want you to imagine, again, a clogged drain. The lack of safety is basically a plug that's been causing the drain to clog. The clogged drain prevents your partner from expressing herself, from you to express yourself. It's just a drain that prevents the two of you from communicating. And so when you create safety and you unclog this drain, the first stream of water again is going to be the most intense tough truths, the most intense resistances that you will get. So basically this is your partner saying, okay, so if you really are saying that you want to reconcile here, if you're really saying that you can handle the tough truths that's been bothering you for so long, well, let me finally share it with you. Let me finally share the intense and difficult tough truth that's been bothering you for a long time. And basically she wants to see, can you take it or not? Have you really changed to the point where you can take the tough truth? Because if you cannot take it at this point, then there is no hope of reconciliation. But if you can take it, and if you can turn this from negative to positive, then maybe there is hope. And the funny thing is that if you look at your own life, you would do the exact same thing. So let's say that you reverse the roles and now you're the one feeling unhappy and you want to leave the relationship because you haven't been able to express how unhappy you feel for a very long time, let alone resolve it. And now your partner is starting to change in all these ways to indicate that maybe things are different. So you finally touch the waters and you start to show and share all the stuff that's been bothering you for so long. But then instead of taking it, your partner gets angry at you. Your partner gets demotivated. Your partner gets upset and frustrated of why are you telling me all these tough things? Why are you resisting? What would you feel? You would feel, I guess he hasn't changed after all. But what if your partner takes all the tough truth that you share and she leans into it? She says, for example, thanks for telling me all these tough truths. I actually appreciate that because now I know the issues. Now I know what to work on. When she says that, that'll make you go, maybe something is really different this time. Maybe it is. Maybe he has changed. Maybe there is hope after all. So when you look at all the tough resistances, the tough truth that she's giving you at the stage, just know that that's normal and that you would do the exact same thing actually. So typically my clients spend about 3 to 6 months in this stage. Again, depending on how closely they follow the program to the T and also how much damage, how much baggage they've created in that relationship for however many years they've created it. And the expected challenge here again is that intense resistance, intense tough truths that's been building up for many years. And if you are not solid in your internal shifts again at this stage, you are going to crumble. You are going to start to feel very demotivated, maybe victim blame your partner, etc. The temptation to do that will be very high at this point. So the skills you need at this stage is first and foremost, you need to develop what we call an anti-fragile bulletproof vest. And so there's really 3 levels of bulletproofness that you can have. The first stage is what we call the fragile bulletproof vest. So just like that word suggests, you are fragile. So to understand this, imagine a vase. When there's no pressure coming onto that vase is fine, it looks beautiful. But once pressure starts to come, it starts to shatter. And a lot of people are like this. They can stay normal and stay calm and poised when everything is fine. But when your partner starts to give you the tough truths, the tough resistances, that's pressure that's gonna crumble you. And if you are fragile, you will never last this paradox of change stage. The second level is what we call robust. This is what a lot of people think of when they think about being bulletproof, but this is nowhere close to the level of bulletproofness that you need to be. So to imagine this, imagine a rock or a diamond. A rock looks strong, and with some pressure, it will stand that pressure. But with enough pressure, what happens to a rock or a diamond? It shatters. And this is the same thing that happens in most relationships. Because people take on the robust approach to being bulletproof, they take all these resistances and tough truths, and they can withstand it up to a point until eventually it becomes so intense that they shatter again. And in this stage, you're going to be getting resistance and tough truths for 3 to 6 months in a very intense fashion. If you're just robust, you will shatter. The only way to do this is if you develop what we call again an anti-fragile bulletproof vest. And to picture this, imagine your human body. Whenever you get sick, your body doesn't just withstand it. Your body is not like a car. Your body actually gets healthier. It starts to even get stronger because you got sick. So while they're robust, the more pressure you get, you stay with an anti-fragile bulletproof vest, the more pressure you get, the more you rise. This is the only state where you can last the 3 to 6 months of very intense resistance and actually come out of it thriving. And if you want to learn more about what this anti-fragile bulletproof vest is, what it looks like and how to build it, I've left a video for you up here above my head, also down below this video. So check it out if you want to learn more about this. And just how you need an anti-fragile internal state, you also need what we call an anti-fragile communication strategy. So most people in their communication, they're very fragile. So if your partner says something very mean to you, you retaliate by saying something mean back. Most people are robust at best. When their partner gives them really tough truths, they can maybe say some of the right things, but you can tell from their micro expressions, their micro tones, that they're holding a lot of anger, a lot of seething feelings and frustration. You can tell that. But my clients learn to thrive, where the more tough truths they get, they actually take those tough truths and actually make it into an opportunity. So for example, if your partner were to tell you, hey partner, I've never loved you from the day one. A lot of men would crumble at hearing that. But my clients learn to actually turn that into an opportunity by asking, for example, okay, so you're saying you never loved me. I guess I want to learn more about that. I want to learn more about what made you decide maybe to choose me in the first place. What have I done in the past to make you feel like you can never love me, even from the very beginning? Which gives them an idea of what they can do to actually do better in the future to allow that feelings of love to come in the future. So basically here, the more lemons they get, the more lemonades they make. And so you cannot really lose at this stage. And you need to be a performer at this. A performer meaning that you need to be so good at your ability to lead a conversation like this and turn negatives into positives that you can not only just do it right a few times, but you literally cannot get it wrong anymore. It becomes part of your lowest default to do the right things. Because at this stage, you're gonna get many curveballs appearing in the form of intense resistance and again, tough truths. A lot of curveballs. And you are going to need to be able to diagnose and treat and be able to respond in the moment. So the main question is, have you mastered the frameworks enough to the point where you can do the right things without thinking as much, or even do the right things accidentally sometimes? And this is why if you look at my program community, you can see a lot of my clients practicing their frameworks through sending their videos in to us, for example, having us critique their videos. And they're practicing these frameworks up to the point where they cannot get it wrong anymore. And that's why also the program is outlined the way it is. So if you look at our program curriculum, phase 2 is all about getting you this anti-fragile internal state. Then phase 3 of our program is really about getting you this anti-fragile communication strategy. And when you continue to thrive in stage 3, you go to stage 4 eventually, which is what we call unsurrendered reconciliation. This is your partner starts to slow down the resistance, the tough truths, because it's not that many to share anymore. And this is when she might hop one foot in the boat, but not both feet, because she's not ready to fully surrender yet. And the challenge you face here is that you'll see a lot of hot and cold behavior from your partner. Some days she'll be hot in a saying that I'm gonna come back with you, but then the next day, the next morning, she can say, I don't know about this anymore. I wanna be by myself for the next week. And the reason why this stage occurs is that for every decision we make in life, there's always decisions we make that we have surrendered to and that we haven't surrendered to. And you do the exact same thing. When you make a decision and you haven't fully surrendered to that decision, you haven't convinced yourself that this is the right decision to make, and there's no other alternative decisions that I want to make right now. This is the only place I want to be and nowhere else. If you make that decision that is unsurrendered, you will also be wishy-washy. For example, if you take a job that you haven't surrendered to, you'll always spend your days thinking about, what if I had that job? What if I had this job? So you're going to be wishy-washy as well and hot and cold as well. And the requirement to surrender becomes bigger, the bigger decision becomes. So if you look at the decision to spend your one and only life and dedicate it to one person, which is what you're asking your partner to do right now, that is a massive decision. In fact, there is no bigger decision than that. If your partner is spending a lot of time in surrendering to the decision to be with you, and you spend a lot of time in this unsurrendered reconciliation stage, just understand that. That's part of the normal part of the process, and you would do the exact same thing because this is a very massive decision right now. And typically, my clients spend 0 to 6 months in this stage. And I know that's such a wide gap because some of my clients actually skip this stage altogether. If they do stage 3 really right, they can actually skip this stage. But again, this depends on how closely they follow the program, but also how much damage they've caused previously. So the challenge you will face at this point is that, again, your partner's going to be very wishy-washy and hot and cold. And you're going to fall into two extremes here. Either you're going to see her coming closer to you and let you coast and you get complacent. That's a bad mistake to make. But the other alternative, the other extreme is you might find that her hot and cold behavior will make you hunt, will make you rush her into making a decision to surrender. Other extremes you pick are bad mistakes to make. So in this stage, the first thing you need to master is how to create the 4 ingredients to surrender. And we already discussed this in a previous video. So if you want to watch the video, click the link above my head or also down below this video. But we must be able to feed all 4 ingredients here. You cannot even miss just one. And the tricky part also is that you cannot be making subconscious and unconscious mistakes for these 4 ingredients. The second skill you need to master is to understand what it means to cultivate the right intention for reconciling. So the first thing we need to understand is reconciling, if you think about it, is a very selfish act. You're basically saying to your partner that, hey partner, I don't really care if you want to reconcile or not, but I want to reconcile. So your desire to reconcile is all about you. This is not about your partner. So taking this selfish route is not gonna work, but being a martyr and taking the full selfless route is not gonna work either. So to understand this side, imagine again, you're reversing the roles. And now your partner is saying to you, I don't care how miserable I feel. I don't care what I have to go through. I want to make myself miserable just to get you back. Is that actually attractive? Would you actually want to come to someone like that? Because think about it. The reason why you get out of the relationship in the first place is because your partner was always feeling miserable. And so if they're saying, I want to make myself feel more miserable so that you can come back to me, that is just crazy. So the totally selfless route where you're the martyr doesn't make sense as well. The key is that you have to find the middle here, or what we call noble selfishness. This is the point where both the selfless side and the selfish side is combined together. So for example, for me in my job, yes, I do my job because I want to help people. That's a very selfless thing to do. But at the same time, I only do my job, not only because it helps people, but also helping people makes me feel happy and satisfied as well. That's more of a selfish reason for me to do it. These two reasons must marry together. If one of these is missing, I'm not gonna be coming to that interaction, to my job, to the relationship in a very genuine way. And once you find this balanced middle of noble selfishness, it's important that you have to make it a part of you, a part of who you are, a part of why you do everything you do, and let it permeate to everything you say, to everything you do, to make everything you say and do a lot more genuine as well. And we also teach our clients what it means to create interdependence and how to actually create a culture that fosters interdependence. And we already discussed this in another video where we talk about untetheredness quite deeply, so check it out above my head, also down below this video. But this is the stage when your partner can finally feel like a team, where you can say, for example, I will better myself for you, and you will better yourself for me as well. And both of you can say that, and both of you want to better yourself for each other. And this is when also your need to identity shift and really become untethered needs to go to the next and final level. Because time and patience in this stage is very crucial. Because you don't know how long your partner will really spend in unsurrendered reconciliation. And to understand the power of identity shifting, I want you to imagine that you're standing in front of 2 smokers right now. And as the voice of temptation, you give each one a cigarette. The first person says to you, no thanks, I'm trying to quit. The second person says, no thanks, I'm not a smoker. Now both answers are fine, but the second answer is much stronger. And if you were to continuously tempt these people, the second person will have a much higher likelihood of not falling for the temptation of smoking again. And that's the power of identity shifting. When you can make the right process part of your identity, a deep part of you, you can make the untetheredness a deep part of you, it will be really difficult to shake you off your game, no matter what happens, and no matter how long it takes. And when you can continue to thrive in stage 4, you eventually get to stage 5, which is again, that surrendered reconciliation. This is when your partner will jump in your boat, now with both feet in, and this time it's reconciliation, but reconciliation for real. And a typical time frame here is that it's forever. It never really ends. So if you look at my client stories, my client interviews with people who have maybe reconciled the last year, 2 years, 3 years, you will see that they're still following the same process that actually got them there. Because now you have created a system, a process where you're not just trying to maintain a relationship anymore, you're trying to raise it up and make it better and better and better each year. So there is no finish line here. There's no point where you can say, my job is done. And here you're gonna face 2 kinds of challenges. One is that the feeling of complacency is gonna be strongest here. Number 2 is that you're gonna find yourself exposed to many unique problems that you have never faced before. And so the 2 skills you need are, again, all the internal shifts, untetheredness, non-victim mindset, identity shifting, performance mindset, all the internal shifts that we talked about before, plus also all the external shifts to be able to diagnose whatever is happening in your relationship on the fly and be able to come up with a treatment plan on the fly. essentially, at this point, you have to become your own doctor to keep that relationship on a trajectory of going up. So if you want to learn about a program that teaches you how you can thrive and go through all these 5 stages of the reconciliation process, then I want you to check out the masterclass I have from the 5 proven steps to rebuilding your relationship from the ground up. In that masterclass, I'll show you all the ways that my clients have used to take them from stage 1 all the way to stage 5 in a very reliable fashion. So if you want to join me in that masterclass, click the link above my head or also down below this video. I hope that was helpful, guys, and for now, I'll see you in the next one.